Hi and welcome along to the Health Files. It's Chris Brown speaking here. This is a 12-step series to understanding health, nutrition, the body and how to become effective in your weight loss. Episode 1 is the importance of a detox or a body cleanse, and we will go into depth about why a cleanse is necessary in order to achieve the weight loss for life and never to have to yo-yo diet ever again. So I'm going to first of all introduce you to the program and what we're going to be covering today. Toxins are bad news and can literally leave you feeling pretty damn shocking. If you're highly toxic, you're going to be agitated, easily angered, lack sleep, struggle to sleep, feel constantly tired and worn out and overweight, plus pretty much everything else that's going wrong in your body. So you can see just by a very short introduction that a body cleanse is really important in order to overcome these problems and finally get back to living the life you deserve, with positivity and freedom and not having to worry about your health or weight anymore. So in this webinar, I'm going to be covering the following few things. The first thing that we'll discuss is what toxins actually are and the food groups that place toxic strain on the body. When you understand what toxifies the body, then it is easier to understand the necessity to remove certain things from our food and lifestyle. We'll then explore the food groups that need eliminating. Secondly, we'll then delve into understanding the science behind fat storage. Once we clearly establish why we store fat, then it's way easier to get rid of it for good. We'll also look at the myths of dieting and how to overcome yo-yo dieting once for all. I will explain why cutting calories will lead to more fat storage in the long run and how to overcome this. So if you need to take notes, please grab a pen and we'll get started. If not, then listen, absorb and learn, and hopefully I'll clear up anything you've been unsure of. So what are toxins? I'm not sure if you really truly know what toxins are. I mean, you hear about detox this and detox that, but what does it actually all mean? Is it just a term that we've actually come used to as a new diet, or is it actually something a little bit more meaningful? Okay, so there are many different exposures to toxins in our daily encounters, as you can see from the selections of images. It can be more than just food that toxifies the body. I mean, looking at those images, what is scary to me is the fact there is a no human warning sign for the pesticides, yet we are caught in our most valuable food source in it. It's pretty crazy to me. You also have pollution that creates a toxic load on the body. When generally looking at toxins and things that create a toxic load on the body, you can see some that you can change immediately, whilst others, such as pollution, is really out of our control. So it's important to change the things that you can impact upon immediately and that you can directly control yourself. Things such as cutting out sugar, wheat, alcohol, dairy, processed foods, caffeine, the likes. You see, these things have a direct effect on our health, toxicity and weight loss, but consuming them is a choice. It's a choice you can simply make to eat and drink them, the same way that you did decide to eat and drink them. Make sense? So here's the toxic food groups that we'll be removing from our diet for the cleanse. Wheat, dairy, sugar, caffeine, gluten, alcohol, processed foods. Wheat. Well, the first point I'd like to make about wheat is that it's an insulin mimetic. What does this mean? It basically means that by consumption of wheat, you're going to look around 10 months pregnant. Have you ever gotten that bloating feeling after you've had a slice of bread or some pasta? In addition to this, the body actually processes wheat as a sugar, and therefore it spikes your insulin levels and puts the body into fat storage mode. So aside from being toxic, it also plays a major role in fat storage, which clearly we want to avoid. It is the glue-like gluten that can cause major problems as it lines the walls of the colon and prevents it from expelling waste properly. This then creates a backup in the colon for potential toxicity leakage to other organs. Wheat today is a processed food. Basically, the overproduction of wheat breaks down the grain and it is no longer a whole food, and the body doesn't generally recognize it. The bleaches then used to whiten flour also cause toxicity to the liver. Dairy. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit controversial to most people, so I want you to have an open mind. Dairy foods have a huge misconception as being a necessary health food. I'm going to delve a little bit into this one. Milk is more recently known as a deadly poison. I mean, for starters, milk often contains a lot of hormones and antibiotics, not to mention blood and pus. That's right. The argument I get most about dairy is, where do we get our calcium from if we cut milk out of our diets? Well, first of all, there's more calcium in a bag of spinach than there is in a whole 6-pint carton of milk. And secondly, milk is pasteurized and homogenized, and pasteurization is actually defined as the total abstinence of enzymes. Death is often described as no more present enzyme activity. So basically, the milk is dead. Okay, there's no living activity within the milk. The enzymes are killed in the boiling process. This is in order to kill disease and to increase shelf life. After all the goodness is boiled out of the milk, the homogenization process is actually to fortify the milk with chemical versions of calcium and other nutrients. So basically the milk that we're left with is sugar water with chemicals, blood pus, antibiotics and hormones. Sounds pretty appetizing, doesn't it? And also on the calcium argument, there are 12 minerals that actually make up bone density. Magnesium and zinc probably being the most important of the 12, sorry. And basically calcium can actually block these other minerals from being absorbed if we have an unusual large amount of calcium in our diet. The countries with the highest consumption of dairy, okay, actually have the highest proportion of bone disease. Okay, countries with the lowest consumption of dairy actually have the lowest cases of bone disease. Alcohol's a pretty quick one. We're not going to go into real depth with it, but basically alcohol is a poison and toxifies the liver. Remember, if we toxify the liver, then we're going to f fat. Ever heard of the phrase, what's your poison? Well, that's basically a true reflection of what alcohol is. That's pretty much it for alcohol. Your body cannot use it for anything. It has zero benefits to the body. Sugar is the biggest reason we store fat for numerous reasons. From a toxic point of view, it has a high toxic load on the body, especially the more refined sugars. The more refined, the quicker it will be stored as fat. The liver has a big problem with sugar, as it also plays havoc with insulin levels. I will explain in another video what insulin is and does, but basically, the higher the insulin spike, the quicker you store fat. The spike is always followed by a trough. This also mimics your energy levels, leading to fluctuations in energy, and then also cravings for sugary foods. Processed foods are categorized together, but form a wide range of different groups. They can be anything from canned and packaged food to bread. There are basically a lot of processed foods out there that you've not even realized. Avoid anything that is packaged for increased shelf life or has the words that you can barely pronounce on it. Additives, ease, and the rest. Basically, these foods place high toxic strain on the body and in particular the liver. Caffeine has been shown in studies to place the liver under toxic load for around 24 hours. That is one dose of caffeine. So if you're taking several cups of coffee per day, then you would definitely put your body under huge toxic strain. That's before you add in any toxic foods or substances you may be eating. And caffeine is also highly addictive, so it's pretty hard to cut out from your diet. Some people are able to do it straight away and others need to actually wean themselves from it. You may experience some headaches when removing caffeine depending on how much you actually consume. If you have a high caffeine consumption, then gradually wean yourself from it by halving your intake daily or even every couple of days. Caffeine also raises cortisol for around 16 hours. Cortisol is a fat storing hormone that we'll discuss in a later hormone series. We aren't going to go into mega detail here, but what I will say is always try to get organic food when possible. You want to protect the liver from pesticides as much as possible. I mean, the toxic load is pretty high, as you can see from the photo. So we've established the main reasons the body can become toxic. So what can we actually do about it? And why, more importantly, is it essential to clean and remove the toxins in order to start our fat loss journey? First of all, the liver is vital for all bodily functions. It is in control of our hormones, which ultimately control the person we are, if we store fat and where we store fat. If the liver isn't functioning properly, then neither is the rest of the body. If we have a toxic liver, then any toxic substance taken into the body will overload it and kickstart us into a fat storing frenzy. Why? Because our body wants to protect us from harmful toxins, and therefore the safest way to do this is to store them into our fat stores. The liver acts as a filter and tries to protect the body from toxicity, as you can see in the diagram on the right hand side. So in a nutshell, toxins make us very prone to fat storing. Basically, fat is stored toxins. So it makes sense for us to remove the toxins from our diet, and then we aren't going to make our body store them as fat. Once we stop ingesting toxins, our body can then detoxify the stored toxins and flush them out of the system, resulting in huge fat loss results in a very short space of time. So hopefully you've learned a few things about food and toxins that you were previously unaware of, and you've had your head around these reasons why toxins cause us to store fat. First port of call is to increase the amount of water we drink. You want to be shooting for around 3 to 4 litres per day, or around 1 litre per 50 pounds of your body weight. This is necessary to start shifting toxins. Without doing this, you're seriously reducing your chances of dropping body fat. The toxins will release and circulate around your system and then go back into your fat stores if you were dehydrated. Next, increase the amounts of fresh fruit and veg you are consuming. Start having more dark greens, cruciferous veg, and generally increase your portions so that you're having lots of portions with each meal. Veg is going to be your main source of carbohydrates and also a great source of fibre, which of course is essential for health and digestive health in particular. Now we're going to explore how we cleanse. As we mentioned previously, you want to remove all of the food groups from your body that cause us to become toxic in order to give the liver the freedom to breathe, if you like. Once the liver starts to cleanse and detoxify, your body will then become a fat burning machine. You will be amazed at how quickly and how much fat you will begin to drop. So if you look at the diagrams, there are a couple of cool illustrations that really show how the body cleanses. The diagram on the right best shows the detox process and makes it a lot easier to understand. So what are the differences between cleansing and dieting? Well, again, this diagram is a brilliant way to show what the effects of dieting are in comparison to the effects of cleansing. I always find when shown in a visual way, like the diagram, it is much easier to understand. Maybe that's just me, but this picture represents the whole thing perfectly. Yo-yo dieters are often the people who are constantly on diets, chopping and changing from one to the next. They drop loads of weight, then pile it back on, yet they fail to understand why this happens. Well, by cutting calories and restricting your portion sizes, you may be consuming less calories than you are expending. That's generally the rule people follow. Eat less, move more. And granted, yeah, you're going to drop weight, but maybe even a lot of weight in the short term, but the weight you lose is often muscle tissue and water and is very rarely fat. As you cut calories and eat smaller meals, you are most likely still taking in toxins into the system, so the liver is still toxic. And when your energy expenditure balances out with the energy intake, i.e. the calories, then you will put the fat mass back on again. This is the main reason people fail at dieting, because they starve their body of nutrients rather than actually increasing the nutrient intake. This is shown as the rebound effect on the diagram. So if you look at the cleansing and replenishing model, you can see that removing impurities and toxins leads to massive fat loss, and it's very quick but safe fat loss method based around health principles rather than dropping calories. As you have removed the majority of toxins from the system, then the maintenance is very easy. Most people who follow the cleansing method make changes for life, not just for a short-term quick fix before a holiday or an event. It is much more sustainable, and because you will have increased energy, vitality and wellness, then you will never want to revert back to the old ways of eating. And the beauty of it all is that you maintain your results that you get. Then everyone is happy, right? Whenever I cleanse, I personally use a great herbal supplement that helps to drive the toxins out the system and really speeds up the process, which then relates to an increased speed of fat loss. I'll tell you a little bit about the content of the supplement and what it does. The Healthy Starter Pack is a 10-day program providing natural herb supplements. It helps to clean the colon by using psyllium hulls to attract and eliminate toxins from the colon. The Digestive Health Formula uses time-honoured herbs to both soothe the digestive system and help maintain efficiency. The Liver Health Formula addresses one of the most complex organs of the body. The liver acts as both a blood filter and a feedback system for hormones in the body. If the liver is overworked, other organs of the body begin to fall into disease. This formula revitalizes and nourishes the liver. Another important eliminative channel is the urinary tract. Cranberry and buchu help the miles of microscopic tubules that make up this important system. To help cleanse the circulatory system, we have included hawthornberry, capsicum fruit, and garlic bulb. This product not only helps the body maintain healthy blood vessels in the body, it supports elasticity in the vein walls, which is vital to circulatory health. If anybody's actually interested in this supplement, then please give me a shout. I can either order it for you or I can send you the link to order it yourself. I personally noticed a huge difference when supporting my cleanse with this product. And I'm currently on the cleanse and using this product and my energy levels. And I really feel that it sort of took away the toxin headaches and the toxin sort of things that you go through, the drowsiness and things. It really helps support that and flush everything out. And I feel really good at the minute, really good energy levels. Okay, I hope this webinar was informative. I hope you learned a lot. And the best thing you can do now is implement it. Thank you very much.